Most guys want to build muscle, but the moment they hear the word bulk, they get scared. They imagine themselves looking soft, losing their abs, and looking worse before they look better. But don't worry, because in this video, I'm going to explain to you the best strategy for bulking so you can put on as much muscle as possible without getting fat. We'll go over everything you need to know. How much weight you need to gain per week, how many calories you need to eat, the best macro breakdown, how to structure your meals, and how to know if your bulk is actually working or you're just getting fat. By the way, my name is Oliver. I'm a natural bodybuilder. I've competed in 3 shows, been training for 6 years, and now I coach guys online to help them build muscle and lose fat so they can achieve their best physique without wasting time. All right, let's get into it. If you're serious about building muscle, you have to bulk at some point. Recomping and main gaining can work, but they're painfully slow and only really effective for beginners. The fastest way to put on muscle is through a caloric surplus because you're giving your body the extra resources it needs to build muscle. However, I only recommend bulking if you're lean. So this means if you have visible abs or you're between 10 to 15% body fat. If your body fat is at 20% or above, I would recommend recomping or cutting before you go into a bulk. This is for 2 reasons. Number 1 is because if you are already at a high body fat percentage, you probably won't want to gain even more fat because you don't even have visible abs to begin with. Number 2 is because at a higher body fat percentage, your body is able to burn fat and build muscle at the same time. As you get leaner, however, and start to reach those low body fat digits, it gets exponentially harder to build muscle while burning fat. This is why being shredded all the time is not a good idea if you want to build muscle in the long term, especially without the use of steroids, because at a lower body fat percentage, your body goes into survival mode. It doesn't care about building muscle, it's just trying to preserve energy. And you can't grow when you're constantly under eating calories. So I know it sucks to lose a little bit of definition, but in return, you'll gain size, strength, and a much better physique that you can later cut into. But don't worry, because this bulking strategy that I'm gonna share with you is gonna allow you to build muscle without putting on a bunch of body fat. You might not be absolutely shredded, but you'll still keep your abs if you do this right. So let's make one thing clear. Eating more food does not mean you're gonna build more muscle. Your body can only use a certain amount of calories and protein to build muscle, and anything extra just gets converted to fat. That's why dirty bulking is not the smart way to go. Yeah, you might gain a little bit of muscle, but you're also gonna gain a lot of body fat that you're gonna have to cut later. That makes the whole process harder, longer, and more frustrating. The goal of a bulk is to put on as much lean tissue with as minimal fat gain as possible. So here's how to do it. First, let's talk about how fast you should be gaining weight. If you're a beginner to intermediate, you're gonna wanna aim between 1/2 pound and 3/4 pound per week. If you're more advanced, you wanna slow that down to about 1/4 pound to 1/2 pound per week. This is because as you become more advanced and build muscle throughout the years, your rate of muscle growth begins to slow down. Weigh yourself a few times per week, preferably every day if you can, and take your average body weight for the week and compare it to the next week. You want to take the average because your body weight fluctuates every day by a couple pounds, so you don't actually know exactly how much you weigh. So by taking your average weight throughout the week, you get a more accurate measurement. Okay, so now that we know how much weight we need to gain, we need to know how many calories we need to eat on a daily basis so we can gain weight at that rate. We need to be in a slight caloric surplus, about 5 to 10% above your maintenance level. To figure out your starting point, take your body weight in pounds and multiply it by 15 to 17. That'll give you a rough estimate of your maintenance level if you don't already know what your maintenance is at. From there, bump it up by 150 to 300 calories. So now that we know how many calories we need to eat, we need to know how much protein, carbs, and fats we should eat on a daily basis. So for protein, you want to aim for about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. That means if you weigh 180 pounds, you want to eat at least 180 grams of protein. For fats, you want that to be about 20% of your total daily calories. Fats are important to support your hormone production and has other health benefits. And then the rest, you just fill it in with carbs. Now let's talk about meals. You don't need to eat 6 or 7 times per day like old school bodybuilders. Around 3 to 5 meals per day is the sweet spot. It's easier on digestion, makes hitting your macros a lot easier, and gives you opportunities to spread your protein throughout the day. This also allows you to fit your carbs around your training window, which brings me to my next point. Damn, I just spilled some water on me. When you're bulking, carbs are your best friend. They are your body's preferred source of energy and they directly fuel your workouts. So I like to have higher carbs for my pre and post workout. Pre-workout carbs gives you energy and improves your workouts. Post-workout carbs are gonna help refill your glycogen stores. Post-workout carbs are gonna help refill your glycogen stores and help you recover. Remember guys, Your training is super important if you want to build muscle. The better performance you have in the gym, the more muscle growth you're gonna see. So this is why carbs are crucial for high performance workouts. If you struggle to eat enough, start using high calorie foods like whole eggs, beef, peanut butter, almonds, white rice. A lot of guys say they're eating so much food and they can't gain weight. I don't buy it, bro. How many meals a day? 2 meals? That's it? Pizza? You ate pizza and it's 1 meal. You're still in a calorie deficit. You gotta eat more, bro. All right, so I'm gonna share with you guys what I'm eating right now on my bulk. For my first meal, I have a smoothie. If you guys know me, I'm a big fan of this smoothie because it's really quick to make in the morning. I make it with whole milk, banana, protein powder, oats, blueberries. For meal 2, also my pre-workout meal, I have some chicken, white rice, and an avocado. I also throw some lettuce in there and throw in some low-calorie hot sauce. For my intra-workout, this is optional. I drink some Gatorade. This also just helps me with my performance, gives me some quick-acting carbs, and helps refill my glycogen stores as I work out. But this is not required. It's just a small little boost if you really want to take it a step further. For my post-workout meal, I'll usually have some 93 lean ground beef, more white rice, some lettuce, and an apple. For my fourth meal of the day, I'll have either a few eggs with some English muffins, or I'll have some more ground beef and sweet potatoes depending on the day. For my fifth meal, I'll just have a Greek yogurt and blueberry snack right before bed, just to get a little bit more protein in. This puts me at about 3,300 calories, 220 grams of protein, almost 500 grams of carbs, and 60 grams of fat. Okay, so how do you know if your bulk is actually working or you're just getting fat? If you're actually weighing yourself every week and you see that scale weight is going up about half a pound to 3/4 of a pound per week, you are right on track. If you are consistently getting stronger in the gym, the weights are going up, you're able to do more reps, you feel stronger, that's a good sign that the bulk is working, because if you're getting stronger, you're also building muscle. Now, in the first week or two of bulking, as you increase your calories, it's normal to gain 2 to 3 pounds of weight. And don't stress this, this is not fat, this is water weight from glycogen filling up your muscles. If you're gaining weight but you're not gaining strength, I would check that you are sleeping enough, you are prioritizing your recovery, and you're timing your high carb meals around your workout window. If you're gaining more than a pound per week, even after the initial weight gain from the increased glycogen stores, then I would dial back your calories a bit, because that's a really fast weight gain, and especially as a natural, you're likely putting on a lot of body fat and not as much muscles. Now, if you're not gaining any weight at all, even after weighing yourself each week, then I would increase your calories. You're just not eating enough. So now you're wondering how long you should bulk for. And the answer to that is until you get fat. I would say that you should bulk between 6 to 12 months, potentially even 18 months. But there's a caveat here. If you feel like you're gaining a lot of fat, or if you feel like you're not gaining any more strength, your digestion is off, I would end it there and start cutting again. And I'll talk more about that in future videos. And most importantly, throughout this bulk, make sure that your training is intense. When you're in a surplus, you have more resources to build, but that only works if you're giving your body a reason to use those resources. This means pushing to failure or close to failure on your sets and progressively increasing the weight or number of reps that you're doing. If you're eating more but your training sucks, you're just wasting your time. All right, so if you're serious about building muscle, stop playing it safe and being shredded year round. You're just staying skinny. Commit to a smart, structured bulk, and don't just do it the lazy way. Actually stick to the diet and watch your physique change. And if you actually want a structured plan that's gonna work with you and your schedule and get you guaranteed results, click the link in my bio to apply to work with me one-on-one. And if this video was helpful, leave a like, subscribe for more helpful content like this, and leave a comment down below letting me know which part of the bulk you struggle with the most. I'll see you in the next one.